poppin'? Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know who it is, your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQue, and I'm going to just say it right off the rip. Age ain't nothing but a number, baby. Age ain't nothing but a number, and as long as you're legal, we can dance. And everybody that we're going to talk about today, they are of legal age here in fantasy football, so you need not be deterred because they've been around for a little bit. They got a little dust on them. They say the older the berry, the sweeter the juice. And I think some of the juice with some of these players could definitely be more than worth the squeeze relative to where they're drafted. So I'm going to give you 5 players, give you the reasons why I'm kind of feeling them here this year. Again, we're not going to stat you to death. I'm not going to bore you to death. We're going to have a good time talking through these players. And I want to know, more importantly, from y'all in the comments, how do you guys feel about them this season? The role, the environment, the coaching staff, the scheme, what we're hearing, the vibes throughout training camp. We're going to talk about it right here on the channel. So if you're new, we have a good time every time. I just ask that you hit the thumbs up button, like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the podcast feed. We got 5 old players we got to get into right now. Let's go. All right, number 1 on the list is a player that I have been talking about quite a bit over the past couple of weeks. Talked about it on the Yahoo show with Matt Harmon. But one of the wide receivers that I just love this year for fantasy football, DJ Moore of the Buffalo Bills. Last year, not the type of season that we expected with Ben Johnson's first year in Chicago. DJ Moore finished as the wide receiver 31, 34 overall, right around 10 points per game. Right now, his current ADP, we've got him at 29 to 27 ADP right now. Pick 55, going about round 5 in your fantasy football drafts. And I have a very aggressive projection on DJ Moore. So let's pull him up, talk through more. This situation change. I mean, shit, he's in Buffalo now. He's playing with a quarterback who is right there in the MVP conversation every single year. There he is, wide receiver 29, DJ Moore. We'll pull him up. I'll talk through where I have him projected and the reasons why I'm so bullish on Moore this year. So right around 10.5 fantasy points per game last year. Good for wide receiver 31. I've been projected for 14.5 points this year. Wide receiver 16. So big gap. Drafted as wide receiver 31, 32, 33. I've got him projected right outside that top 15. 1,150 yards and 7 touchdowns in this Josh Allen-led offense. When you talk about Moore, let's be honest here. He didn't forget how to play football. He didn't just suddenly forget how to play football. When Chicago threw him the damn ball, he was pretty good. His route participation last year was around 88%, but his first read target share collapsed. It was around 15% the year prior, 9.2 to 7% first read. So he was not the primary option in Chicago. He was out there running routes. They just stopped throwing him the ball as one of the main guys with Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, high draft capital, and Colston Loveland. But now he's in Buffalo. And this is the most talented wide receiver Josh Allen has had since Stefon Diggs. Like, no question about it. Keon Coleman, not that guy. Khalil Shakir, great season. But this is the most talented receiver Josh Allen has had since Diggs. And DJ Moore is reunited with his old offensive coordinator from Carolina, the new head coach, Joe Brady. So he goes from Caleb Williams to Josh Allen, reunites with Joe Brady, offensive coordinator during both of DJ Moore's 1,100-yard seasons in Carolina. And most importantly, I've got him going from 85 targets, pushing upwards to 140 targets here this year with the Buffalo Bills. You look at his games played, he's been an Iron Man. He's on the field. He had 163 targets with Joe Brady back in 2021. 17 games. I mean, look at the collapse. 136 targets in 23, 140 in 2024, 85 targets last year, still scored 6 touchdowns. Right at about 10 points per game. This is a situation where he's right there. Age 29. He's not too old. He's not too far removed from some of those good seasons for the value to bounce back. When we look at Moore's, let's go to his routes and what he did right here on the site. You could look at advanced charting, screen routes, hits routes, post routes, index deep outs. I mean, he's kind of all over the field, DJ Moore. His route participation is everywhere. He could operate inside. He can operate downfield. I mean, some of his touchdown throws right here, right? You can see right here, 42-yard catch, 25 yards of yak versus Baltimore in week 8. Like, you can look at some of this advanced stuff. but he can still get open, short, intermediate, and deep. And this is why, paired with Josh Allen, who is devoid of some of these weapons that can execute some of these routes, be on the field to do some of these things, it's a really good fit for DJ Moore here in Buffalo this year. And when you look at the projections, so let's pull up the projection engine and see the full allotment of the Buffalo Bills room. There's Josh Allen, got him projected for right at 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns. But when we look at the wideouts right here, there's DJ Moore leading the way, 92 catches, 1150, 7 touchdowns, 14.5 point per game with a ceiling of 16. And Khalil Shakir is still pretty good, 9-6, right at 10 points per game with a ceiling of 12.5. Right there is the wide receiver 2 in Buffalo. Now, a little bit of pushback here. Some people will say, well, Buffalo's not the team that's going to throw the ball 600 times a year, and they're right. That's not even where we have Josh Allen close to. We've got him at 521 pass attempts, but he's an efficient quarterback, and what he provides the offense with his legs to sort of keep defenses at bay will have opportunity for DJ Moore to break free, stretch the field, and get deep. When you look at Allen, he only had 460 attempts last year compared to Caleb Williams, who had 568. So the overall volume is coming down in Buffalo, but him being the primary target earner in an efficient offense should help DJ Moore. So if these 140 targets happen and DJ Moore is commanding that lion's share of the target share, like, he's going to be really good for us for fantasy football. Again, I refuse to believe that DJ Moore forgot how to play football in 2025. Chicago didn't bench DJ Moore. They just stopped owning the ball, and I don't think he's going to have that problem with Josh Allen in Buffalo. Reunited with his coordinator, reinvigorated, and sometimes a change of scenery is exactly what these guys need. Draft DJ Moore, being drafted outside those top 24 wide receivers, so he's being drafted as a wide receiver 3. Sign me up for a wide receiver 3 playing with Josh Allen, who is his wide receiver 1. Give me some DJ Moore here in 2026. You know, another player that I really like this year is David Montgomery in Houston. The Texans are a team where, when you just look at their offense, Nico Collins is the guy at wide receiver. We like what we're seeing, all the positive reports coming out about Tank Dell working his way back from that devastating knee injury a couple of years ago. Jaden Higgins taking another step forward. And more importantly, CJ Stroud getting his shit together, because the last we saw him, he was launching 5 interceptions in the playoffs. So I truly believe this will be top 2 defense in the NFL. Maybe even I'm underselling it. This could be the best defense in the NFL in Houston. And one of the things that we saw them want to try to do last year was establish the run. And Woody Marks did as best he could. That wasn't even his role, right? When he was coming out of USC, more of a change of pace back, play him in space, but they had to rely on him at times. There was a game where I think Woody Marks had like 30 plus carries towards the end of the season. But now you get a running back that's built to do that, with an offensive line that people were really worried about when they let go of Laramie Tunsil, but Ariante Ursary, some of the other moves, I heard Rutledge, their rookie draft pick this year, is everything they could have hoped for. This is one of those teams where I'm looking at Monty. I've got him projected as RB22 on the season, just based on the numbers, right around 12 points per game, over 1,000 yards, 9 rushing touchdowns. Like, great line. Even more ceiling inside of this projection. But you look at Woody Marks, it allows him to slide back naturally into his role. But David Montgomery being drafted right now as the RB20. It's a round 5 pick. I've got him projected for 245 carries, right at 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. So I've got him projected right at where he's being drafted. Last year, RB 33 points per game, right around 10. And he wanted the rock. He's like, yo, I want to get out there and tote the ball. And this is exactly what the Houston Texans are going to ask him to do this year. You've got more than enough competency outside as your pass catchers. The offensive line is improving, and this is a true build of a running back that can be that traditional kind of bell cow, I'm going to carry the ball. David Montgomery, 230 pounds, so he's got the size to handle the workload. He's got a receiving profile. He's got 2 1,000-yard seasons, multiple seasons of double-digit touchdowns under his belt. And he had a 54-catch, 438-yard receiving season as well. This is honestly one of the running backs, y'all, where we look up mid-season and we're like, damn, how did we not draft more David Montgomery? I know it's been a down couple of years when he was in Detroit for obvious reasons, let's just take a look at the rushing chart and what he can do. But there's still some explosive plays that Monty can rip off. 72-yard run, off tackle right, middle, off tackle left. He could run up the gut. We know he's going to take this work from Woody Marks. This is just a really, really good bet at cost. If David Montgomery is falling anywhere in your drafts, this is a player that I want. And when we look at the rest of the room, let's go to it right now. Let's go to the projection engine. Let's go to the running backs, and let's filter this to the Houston Texans. Yeah, Woody Marks is down there. I've got Woody getting 100 carries, and maybe that's a little ambitious for him, but 470 yards for Woody Marks. We've got the ceiling for David Montgomery. His projected points per game right at 12, but a ceiling of close to 16 points per game for David Montgomery. So big fan of him this season. One of those older players that I'm not fearful of. I'm not fading from a draft perspective. And it kind of transitions into the next player that I want to talk about. So let's pull up one of the projected worst environments in football, the Tennessee Titans, but Tony Pollard, man. This is an old guy that do not shy away from TP. Tony Pollard, I've got him projected as a top 24 running back, right there at 12.1 points per game, RB 23 on the season, 940 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, and Tony Pollard quietly over the last 4 years, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards. And then look at the targets, 55, 67, 57, 41. And yeah, Tajay Spears is there, and Tajay Spears can catch the ball. But Tony Pollard is about as rock solid as it comes. When you're talking about a running back that as long as he's on the field, which you look at his history of being on the field, not many games miss from Tony Pollard. This is a player that I want to draft. You should want to draft Tony Pollard. Right now, his ADP is RB 29, so I've got him projected higher than where he's currently being projected, round 7 pick. And when you compare where Monty's going, right, round 5, same kind of projected line, 12.1 points per game. You get the same type of production 2 rounds later from Tony Pollard. So as much as I like Monty, if you wanted to wait a couple of rounds, Tony Pollard is absolutely still in play. Last year, RB 23 overall, points per game standpoint, right around RB 30 with 11 points per game. Got projected for 225 carries, 940, 40 targets, 300 yards. Pollard's interesting because nothing happened. People thought Jeremiah Love might get drafted. There was no blockbuster move. The biggest thing is they added pass catchers around him to free up some of that space, right? You add a Carnell Tate, you bring in a Wan'Dale Robinson. The biggest competition to the backfield was Nicholas Singleton. He was a 5th-round pick, and no, I do not believe Singleton is going to pull Tony Pollard off of the field. He's just sitting there in round 7 like, I really don't want to draft Tony Pollard, but yeah, he's there. Hell yeah. We've got a walking 1,000-yard rusher running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield and a backup running back in Tajay Spears that has not been the perfect model of health and consistency. Like, this isn't some complicated committee projection. Tony Pollard's the lead back. And unlike David Montgomery, there's a little more receiving potential here with Tony Pollard as well. When you look at, the pushback that some people may say, oh, Ray, you're only projecting him to be RB 22, RB 23. You need to be there on the field getting the volume in order to have some of those ceiling case outcomes. So don't let the point per game thing fool you. This is the primary running back, walking 1,000-yard kind of player being projected to score more than what his ADP costs right now. So Tony Pollard, old guy, very, very much in. The engine likes him. The offense is a little shaky in Tennessee, like straight up. This is one where a lot of the projection is projected in Cam Ward. Can Cam Ward take a step forward to keep defenses honest, to keep the boxes clear? I think the additions of Carnell Tate and Wan'Dale Robinson, the ascension of Gunnar Helm will help with that. But big fan of Tony Pollard here in 2026. All right, the next old guy we're talking about just got signed, Stefon Diggs. And I talked to the commander and I said, hey, man, the best thing for Washington is to keep this guy away from Mama Daniels. And I saw a picture of him talking to Jaden Daniels' mom the other day. You got to keep Diggs away from Mama Daniels. But when we're talking about a player like Diggs, this is a cool feature that we have on our site, the community lane, where you can look at how the community is valuing certain players versus another player. And when we look at Diggs, let's go to the last 3 months. You got DLF ahead of market on Stefon Diggs. Fantasy footballers are a little behind market. When you look all time, single quarterback leagues, there's DD on Stefon Diggs, DLF leading the way. There's fantasy points to flock. So right now, the market is still a little behind on Stefon Diggs, but I don't think you should be. When you look at what Diggs did last year, wide receiver 17 overall, wide receiver 23 in point per game perspective when he was with New England, right around 12 and a half fantasy points per game. Current ADP, wide receiver 47, ninth round pick for Stefon Diggs. I have him projected right outside a wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 37 for Stefon Diggs, 98 targets, 74 catches, 810 yards, and 5 touchdowns. There are some people out there that think Diggs could be the one in Washington. I'm not going to go that far because Terry McLaurin's scary. Terry's damn good too. But this is where I'm kind of arguing against my own projection. The model isn't telling me like Stefon Diggs is back. I'm saying there might be something the model is penalizing too aggressively because he's a little bit older. But when you look at Washington, hell, let me show you better than I could tell you. When you're looking at Washington and that projected room of pass catchers, let's go receivers, let's go teams, Washington Commanders, it's McLaurin, it's Diggs. I like Antonio Williams for Dynasty long-term. I like Treylon Burks as a complementary piece. We'll see what Luke McCaffrey can do. De'Ami Brown, Jalen Lane, not full-time players. It's McLaurin, it's Stefon Diggs. When you go to the tight end room, you got Chigo Okonkwo there. Running backs, you got one guy that's really kind of viewed as a pass catcher, which is Rachaad White. Like the offense with a quarterback, more importantly, Jaden Daniels, who I've projected throwing for 3,700 yards and 27 touchdowns. That's just got to go somewhere. It's going to these top two guys, Terry McLaurin and Stefon Diggs. McLaurin, 7 touchdowns, right at 1,000 yards. Diggs, 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. Ceiling of about what he finished at this year, 12.7. McLaurin's ceiling is 16.3. But this is all about Diggs. Diggs can still play. And had he landed on a team where maybe he were asked to be the number 1 wide receiver again, that his range of outcome could be a little bit better, but just based on the usage. So I studied this position. I love the receiver position, but more importantly, I like talking about how usage correlates and translates year over year. When you pull up the Trinity, here it is right here. Just based on his usage score last year, 7.7 Trinity, 12.7 points per game, high-end comparison range. It's the top 10 percentile outcome for Stefon Diggs based on his usage last year, projecting that to just straight usage this year. Talking about 17 points per game, a medium range outcome at 15 points and a low end right where we have him projected last year at 12.5. Now, granted, this doesn't account for team. It doesn't account for other players on your roster, but just looking at how he was used, this right here lets me know that he's still a damn good player. And going to go play with Jaden Daniels, a quarterback that we think could be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Hell yeah, I want Stefon Diggs. I absolutely am buying in to him at wide receiver 47 prices. Hell yeah, I am in on Stefon Diggs. Last season, Diggs had an 83.3% catch rate, 9.93 yards per target. I've got him projected, the catch rate coming down a little bit, 75%, 8.27 yards per target. So the engine's basically looking at what he did, his age, the change in environment, and saying, we're going to take 17% off of that. But Diggs just had damn near a 10 yards per target season at age 32, his best mark since he was with Josh Allen back in 2020. Washington just has a ton of opportunity available. Debo's 99 targets, gone. Zach Ertz's 72 targets, gone. And if I'm right, at his 2025 efficiency with the 98 targets that I have him projected for, right? Give him another 12 targets. Now you're pushing almost 14 points per game, which would push him roughly to wide receiver 20. And you're drafting him at wide receiver 49, 47. Like, this is a no-brainer one, right? I'm not going to say that his quarterback is a flat-out upgrade. Drake May was phenomenal last year. He was named QB2 last season. So Jaden Daniels, this is still a very talented quarterback as well. So its ceiling is there, 9.3 yards per target. This is one where I'm just going to bet against my projection number. The model sees a 30-year-old, 33-year-old receiver and, kind of brings his efficiency down. I just watched him play some damn good football last season on a team with a great quarterback. Now he's on a team with another young, great quarterback and opportunity available. Yeah, wide receiver 37 projection at wide receiver 47 prices. I am still in on Stefon Diggs. Now, the final player that we're going to talk through in this kind of welcome back, old guy that can bounce back, this is one where This one was tough for me because I'm reading the beat reporters, I'm looking at the situation, and everything is hype around Jacoby Lane, year one wide receiver out of USC for the Baltimore Ravens. But when you just look at what Baltimore's done over the last 3-4 years, it's been main guy, it's been tight end, it's been running back, it's been Lamar Jackson. And when we look at Baltimore now, it's Zay Flowers got his bag, so we know he's going to do his thing. But after that, it's dicey, right? You're betting on a rookie receiver. The most consistent thing that still remains in Baltimore is old man Mark Andrews. Old man Mark Andrews did not have a good year last year. Tight end 27 from a points per game standpoint, 7.7 points per game. His ADP right now is being drafted as the tight end 11, a round 11 pick. I've got him projected at tight end 8, right around 11 fantasy points per game, 185 total points. I'm projected for 99 targets, 69 catches, 734 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And Mark Andrews could have had even more touchdowns last year if he held on to the damn football. Here he is right here. Mark Andrews, 408 yards last year. In that down season, he still had 5 touchdown catches. 5 touchdown catches. 17 games last year, 17 games in 2024. It has not been pretty for Andrews over the past couple of years. In 24, we did get the 11 touchdowns out of Andrews, and honestly, that's what you're betting on. You're betting on Lamar Jackson, who currently, right now, sits as a top 5 quarterback all time in touchdown rate. Lamar ain't throwing the ball 550 times. He ain't throwing it 600 times. You're getting some league low passing volume out of this Ravens offense, but you're getting league high efficiency. And when you just look at the rest of the roster here, the rest of the team, the depth chart at the tight end position, it's Matthew Hibner, got Durham Smythe, Josh Cuevas, maybe, sure, potentially. It's Andrews. Andrews needs to step up. I'm reading the beat reporters are saying they are depending on Mark Andrews to step up for this Baltimore team. Isaiah Likely took his talents to the New York Giants. So this room it's really Mark Andrews here in this situation for Baltimore. You kind of see his route chart right here, the charting from last season for Andrews. Listen, it's a long time ago since he was tight end 1, and I'm not saying he's getting back to that point either. But last season completely nuked the opinion that we have on him, dropping balls in the playoffs, not coming through when a lot of people needed him. Hell, when the Baltimore Ravens needed him. But his ADP is down. He is out there as the tight end for Lamar Jackson in an offense that is extremely consolidated. So I'm not telling y'all we're getting a blast from the past here with Mark Andrews, but I don't think Matthew Hibner is coming in right away and pulling Andrews off the field. Like, they bet on Andrews, and they're going to need Mark Andrews to produce. So his tight end 16 finish last year, uninspiring, but I do like the 5 touchdowns. I do like where we have him projected right now with 7 touchdowns this year, 734 yards. So we're not getting crazy here. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 5 tight end or an elite difference maker, but at cost, you're talking about a player drafted in round 11. If you're waiting on tight end, if you didn't take a Bowers or a Loveland or a Tyler Warren or a Harold Fannin earlier, you're betting on Lamar Jackson. You're betting on one of the most efficient quarterbacks in NFL history, and you're betting on a tight end who should have free runway to operate as the sole tight end inside of this offense for Baltimore here this season. So again, when you're talking about older veteran players that can provide some value, I'm not going to turn my nose up at Mark Andrews, because if you're diving in the late round tight end world, he's going to be there. A player like Dallas Goedert, a player like Dalton Schultz. I also like some of those guys a little bit later relative to their cost and the type of value that they could provide. So the 5 players, 5 kind of old, welcome back to fantasy relevance players: Mark Andrews, DJ Moore, Stefon Diggs, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard. 5 players that I'm digging, 5 players that I like their cost, and 5 players where the projection model is saying, hey, you need to pay attention. There could be some fantasy upside inside of that room. So, all right, that's it for this one. I've got breakouts coming. I'm going to do my rankings, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and tight ends. The whole goal is to get y'all in and out without spending hours and hours listening to somebody yap. So do one thing, show some love, hit the thumbs up button, like the video, subscribe to the channel, lock into the podcast channel, and until next time, I am out. Peace.